Good morning, everyone. I'm Senator Bob Gaida from District 2, Chairman of the Senate Ways and Means Committee. Today, we'll be holding a meeting of the Ways and Means Committee. Before we get started, I'll read through a checklist to ensure that the meeting we're holding is in compliance with the right to know law. As Chair of the Senate Ways and Means Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04 and its extensions, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. In accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone, with additional access possible by video and other electronic means. We're utilizing Zoom for this electronic meeting. All members of the committee and selected legislative staff have the ability to communicate contemporaneously in this meeting through this platform. And the public has access to contemporaneously watch and or listen to the meeting on Zoom or YouTube and via phone by following the directions and links provided on the General Court website. We've provided public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting in the Senate calendar. We're providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anyone has a problem, please email remote senate, that's one word, remotesenate@leg.state.nh.us, or call 603-271-6931. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting, it will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. And finally, let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states his or her presence, please also state where you are and if anyone else is in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. I'll call the roll. Senator D'Alessandro. Senator D'Alessandro has said he will be joining us shortly, so we'll come back to him. Senator Daniels.
Senator Gary Daniels, I'm in the Senate chambers.
Senator Hennessy.
Good morning, Erin Hennessy from Littleton. I am in the Senate chambers.
Senator Rosenwald.
Good morning, Cindy Rosenwald from Nashua. I'm in the Senate chamber.
And Senator Bob Gaida, that's me. I'm present in the Senate chamber as well. And someone might want to text Senator D'Alessandro to see if he's, how soon he'll be joining us. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance in the meantime. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just to lay out what we're going to do today, we will finalize our revenue estimates today. Each member has been provided with a revenue worksheet package from LBA. And within that package are sheets that we'll be ultimately filling out to complete our work today. As well, each member of the Senate should have received electronically and in print a spreadsheet detailing my thoughts on what our estimates should be for the revenues that we have not yet completed. And that would be BPT, BET, RET, IND, M&R, and tobacco. I still want to wait just a few minutes to see if Senator D'Alessandro can join. Senator D'Alessandro.
Yes.
All right. Can you check in? And
Yeah. 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 Oh, excuse me. Okay. I'm checking in. Thank you. And just let me give you a heads up. I'm awaiting a call from my physician. I have to make another visit. I forgot a little problem here, but I'm here. But I may have to withdraw. That's all.
all right. Do you any idea how long that phone call might take? We could recess.
No. Let's go on with it and get going.
All right.
Please. Thank you.
So Well, I know that Chris Shea from LBA is along as well. And Chris, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and Chris will be filling in the numbers that we ultimately come up with. He's already completed, if you look at the second page of the package, the revenues that we completed last week have all been filled in. And the shaded area are the ones we're going to fill in today. So we'll go ahead and start with the business profits tax. I have worked off of the sheets and the information provided by DRA with their best estimate as of May 10th, I believe. Maybe it was the 17th. As we know, it's a very unusual growth in the BET and BPT. But I took as a fiscal 21 estimate, 581.1 million. And if anyone has concerns or interest in how we arrived at that number, I'm happy to do that. Happy to provide that information. Any comments on that number for the BPT?
Yeah, this is the 581.1
Yes,
for fiscal year 21.
that's correct.
Okay. Yeah, and how did we get there, Bob? Because you got 581 for the BPT and 382 for the BET, right? These are your two business taxes, 963.20 for
That's
the business
correct.
taxes. Okay,
That's correct.
okay.
If you were to look at the DRA May 10th, 21 revised revenue estimates for business taxes, all right, their low is 947.5 for both and 964.9 for both as a high. They allocate those taxes 60-40. 60% to the business profits tax and 40% to the BET.
Right.
And that's the methodology that I used, using 963.2 as a starting point. I figured high because the revenues are coming in ahead of expected as we review our daily revenues coming in. So
Right.
I erred towards the high side for that because I think we're going to see those numbers be sustained. Certainly welcome any further discussion.
No, I think the logic is correct. The revenues are coming in well at this point in time. Last time I looked, Chris, we were over plan for the month by what, 200,000, something like that.
Correct.
And
Yes, sir.
And if you did a quick extrapolation, it looks like we're going to be close to 200 million over plan for the year.
I would agree with that.
And if you take away the enrollments that have to be considered, Chris, what's that? The 30 million?
The anomalous money is 30.8 million. Yeah, and that's already been removed from the base number.
Okay,
Right.
so the 200 million is a legitimate surplus at this time.
If things hold up. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's your 200 million, if you're looking at the daily revenues,
Yeah,
it's still in that number.
right. That's what I thought.
So it's out of the estimates that Senator Guide is presenting you, though.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chris.
All right, so following across, starting with the BPT at 581.1, if that's agreeable. I just estimated a 4% growth. Economy's humming along. It's certainly not going to grow at the rate it has. There are a number of things happening both internationally. We have perhaps some supply chain concerns. Also, we're starting to look at some militant action around the planet that could impact things, as well as changes, I'm sure, to the federal tax laws that may impact our revenues. And so I figured a 4% growth that would establish a 2022 base for purposes of additions and subtractions of the various factors of 604.34. And are people comfortable with the 4% growth factor in the BPT? Okay, hearing no objection, then I I established in the next 4 columns the impact to BPT and BET and M&R and I&D that are in House Bill 2. Okay. And also that will be these will be the effective cuts as determined by DRA to the revenue streams. And so, as you know, in year 2022, the BET threshold is being increased. We voted on that, passed that, but it will have no impact in 22. Its first impact will start in 23 and beyond. So no change for the BET threshold increase. And the credit carryover reduction, I took the largest of those numbers from, I wanted to be the most conservative. So I took the largest of those numbers from DRA. 2.4 million from the credit carryover reduction starts in 22. All right. And it gets larger as time goes on over the years, but let's look at 22 right now. Also subtracted the reduction in rate for the BPT, estimated by DRA at 1.3 million. And then the payroll protection plan, Senate Bill 3 impact in 2022, again, per DRA, in their most recent estimate that came last week, is minus 25.4 million. To come up with a 22 estimate for the BPT of $575.24 million for the business profits tax.
Senator Gaida,
Yes, sir.
may I make a clarifying comment?
Absolutely.
So today, what the committee is working on is their base estimates. And what you just went through would be adjustments that would occur if those various changes that are in House Bill 2 remain in House Bill 2 or are added to House Bill 2. So you've made some assumptions on what you think would happen to the revenue base in 22 and 23. But today, the committee is looking at the 604.3 for the BPT in 22 and the 581.1 in 21, and then the 592.5 in 23. So I just so the committee understands, when you vote today or when you're populating the sheet, it's going to only be the base numbers. Those other adjustments would occur lower on the page once the Finance Committee has made decisions on some of those aspects that are in House Bill 2 or being proposed to House Bill 2.
Right.
Right.
All right.
That's good clarification, Chris, because what we should be doing is we should be voting on what exists today, not changes that are going to occur in the future.
Correct.
Right?
That's correct, Senator D'Alessandro. I think what Senator Guida is showing you is the potential impact if some of the changes occur that have been proposed either through the House budget or might be proposed to the Senate budget.
Right. Right. Yeah, I saw it. And
All right. So
appreciate that.
we're ready to vote on the BPT. And I would propose a 604.34 as a base. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Daniels. Is there a second?
Rosenwald.
Okay, seconded by Senator Rosenwald. Any further discussion? All right, we'll go ahead and take the roll. Senator Rosenwald,
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro,
Yes.
Senator Daniels,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
and Senator Guida votes yes on 604.34 for 22 as a
Se-
base.
Sorry, Senator Guida.
Yep.
Typically,
You
The
want to do
Ways
the
and Me-
aggregate?
the Ways and Means will go to the first decimal after. They don't go beyond that typically. We can do that, but the House Ways and Means typically keeps it at, it would be 604.3, 592.5. But if you want the 3.4, we can certainly put that in the documents.
Whatever's standard, I always take it to the next decimal just to see the trending in that. But we can do 604.3 if that's okay with the committee. And hearing
I
no,
think that's, I
no
think that's
objection.
appropriate. 604.3.
Very good. Thank you. And we'll move on to 23 for the BPT. And again, I assumed a 3% growth rate. I think things are going to cool. And we've got gas prices going up significantly. CPI indicators are trending higher. So I think that plus possibly federal action in the tax world may bring a slowing of the growth rate. So I figured a 3% for 2023, which would result in a base number of 592.5. Any discussion?
Where are you?
Where was that one?
I'm sorry, I didn't follow.
Okay, so if we start on,
Which tax?
yeah, what I did was I made the estimate based on the estimate instead of the base. So let's adjust that.
Still on BPT, correct?
Yes, on BPT. So we would add 3% to 604.3
Oh,
for the
okay,
base.
thank you.
And what would the new number be for 23?
Be right with you. So that would be 1.03. I would get 622.4.
It's the number.
That's based on the 604.34 and a
Right.
3% growth.
Okay.
What was that number again?
622.4.
And originally you said 4%, but this is now 3%, correct?
Yeah, for the second year, I figured the economy is going to cool a little bit.
Right.
'Cause-
Okay.
All right, so can I have a motion on the 622.4?
I'll move
Yeah, mo-
622.4.
Okay, Hennessy moves, there a second?
Second.
Seconded by D'Alessandro. And any further discussion? We'll take the roll call. Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro,
Yes.
Senator Rosenwald,
Yes.
Senator Daniels,
Yes.
and Senator Gaida votes yes. All right, move on to the BET. Again, I used a 382.1. That's the 40% of 963.2. That's the way the DRA splits the taxes. By the way, they'll be able to do a better job of getting actual numbers using the new RIM system that they have. That's going to be quite handy for them. I figured a 3% growth in the business enterprise tax. There's some interesting things happening unemployment-wise. We're above where we were unemployment-wise back in March of 20, in terms of the unemployment rate's a little bit higher, number of unemployed. Interestingly, the shift that's taking place is even though more people are unemployed, those that have been reemployed are being reemployed into a higher paying jobs. So I figured a 3% growth in BET was appropriate to give us a base of 393.5, or call it 393.6, rounding up. So I would take a motion on 393.6 for further, we can discuss it.
So moved.
I would second.
Okay, moved by Daniel, second by D'Alessandro, and open for discussion.
I have a question.
Senator Hennessy.
Should we be, I mean, I know it's not that significant, but should we be rounding up or should we be just putting the 0.5 in there?
Maybe Chris could shed some light on that. Should we be rounding up or should we just leave the first digit as it is?
It's up to the committee. You can round up if you feel you would like to. If you think it's better to just stay at 0.5, that's totally up to the committee. What I was saying earlier is that typically we try to keep it at the first decimal point after. So it's up to the committee to decide whether they want to go up or down with something.
I would move that we stay with the 393.5 rather than
Okay.
rounding up.
I'm happy to do that. Friendly amendment. So 393.5 is proposed. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and take the vote. Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
393.5. Senator D'Alessandro,
Yes.
Senator Daniels?
Yes.
Senator Rosenwald?
Yes.
Senator Gaida votes yes. So 393.5 for the BET. And then if we move on to 2023, we take that 393.5 and multiply it times 1 point, I figured a 3.5% growth. Businesses are hiring. If you look everywhere, the incentives to not go to work are coming away. And so I figured a 3.5% growth in the BET, which would give us, whoops, 393. 0.035. 407.2. So I would take a motion for estimated revenue for 23, a base revenue of 407.2. Is there a motion? Did I say that right? Yeah, 407.2.
I would move it.
Okay, D'Alessandro, is there a second? Second by Hennessy. Any
Question.
discussion? Senator Rosenwald.
Thank you. So you're expecting, or we're expecting some slowdown in the growth rate of business profits, but you're expecting the BET to increase its growth rate. And I just wanted to hear your thinking.
Okay, so wages are going up, right? There's definitely supply. I mean, obviously, the supply and demand for labor. Wages are going up, employees are coming back to work, and the factors that go into the BET will, I think, in fact, produce that increase, that rate. I don't think it would carry forward into the next fiscal year or next fiscal cycle. But I think because people are going back to work and because there is significant pressure for hiring, that given the factors that are in the BET, that would work 3.5%.
And that's why profits are going down, because
Well, I
you
think you're going to see,
wages will rise.
you're going to see corporate taxes go up, right? So profits are going to go down. Also, I think you're going to see supply chain issues, China, the international scene is getting less stable. And so, yeah, my sense is the BET will increase, BPT will go down.
Okay.
Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Senator Hennessy. On
Yes.
407.2.
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro.
Yes.
Senator Daniels.
Yes.
Senator Rosenwald.
Yes.
Senator Gaida votes yes on 407.2. It's adopted. All right, real estate transfer tax. 21 estimate at 204 million. Again, taken from the forecast by the DRA. And moving forward with that, we had a significantly greater drop than I think we're going to anticipate initially in 22. I think things are still really hot in the real estate market. They are cooling, but I don't think they're going to cool to the degree, and I want to get the DRA estimate out here.
It's a hot market.
Oh, yeah, very hot.
I mean,
They forecasted the drop from 2 to 7%. I don't see it going to 7%. I even see it cooling off maybe 2%, but it's still a very hot market. And I'd certainly, that's why I went with the minus 2%, which off a $204 million base, I'm sorry, estimate for 21 would give us a 22 base of 199.9. And so that's how I arrived at that number. Senator Hennessy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would prefer to see the 7% drop. And my reason is, although I believe it's still a hot market, it's going to continue to be that way for at least the next couple of years. We just don't have the inventory now to support a lower drop. And so if you open up your paper and you see the property transfers every week, you're going to see fewer and fewer, or you should have seen fewer and fewer, just because although people want to sell their houses, they don't have other houses to move into. And although people want to move here, those people who want to sell their house and downgrade or upgrade just can't find what they're looking for. At least that's what I'm seeing in my area. So
Well, I
I
think-
was, yeah, sorry, go ahead. Seth.
No, finish it and see, and then I want to comment.
But I think by 23, I think when more housing can come to the market and things begin to settle, I would support your theory that it's not going to be as big of a drop. Thank
Okay,
you.
so what would you know, what number, well, further discussion, Senator Alessandro?
Well, I appreciate Senator Hennis's comments. I think they're good, but I think the counter argument says there may be less volume on the market in terms of individual units, but the price is 20% higher than it has been, and people are getting 20% more than they're asking. So I think that's going to sustain itself, particularly based on the fact that inventory is low. So I think the number could be a little bit higher. Also, I've seen that in my area, the number of permits that are being issued for multi-family units, they're pretty extensive. And if you look at the paper, the number of units that will be coming online, I think significant, and the demand for those is significant. So I'd be careful about reducing it too much.
Senator
Thank you,
Rosenwald?
Chairman.
Well, yeah, what I'm seeing in southern New Hampshire is that even though supply is limited, pricing is crazy. And multiple bids on houses way over asking price. And on top of that, I'm concerned that if inflation fears continue and the stock market starts to soften, since it seems based on, I don't even know. what,
Reality, yeah.
pixie dust, I think there's going to be pressure for people to take some money out of the stock market and put it into real estate, because the inventory is going to continue to be low. So it's going to look like a good investment. So I'm probably more comfortable with Senator Gaida's more optimistic estimate, if not -2%, more like -3, rather than being as conservative as Senator Hennessy.
Senator Daniels, comments?
I think one of the things that we have seen, particularly in the housing, is that with COVID, many people have moved out of the cities or from places that were locked down to get to someplace that's a little more free. I don't see that necessarily continuing at the rate it was in the last year. So I would expect that to grow a little bit. The housing thing is still something we have to address. So I mean, there still will be somewhat of a shortage, but I don't know that it'll be as much of one as it was, say, a year ago or in the past half a year.
All right, would anyone be willing to venture a different number than a -0.02?
I would go with what Senator Rosenwald had suggested, the 3%.
So
Negative.
-0.03. Is there any objection? All right. So then a -0.03 would produce $197.8.
Mhm. I'll move 197.8.
Okay, Senator Daniels moves 197.8. Is there a second? Senator Rosenwald? Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none. Senator Daniels?
Yes.
Senator Rosenwald?
Yes.
Senator Hennessy?
Yes.
Senator Alessandro?
Yes,
and Senator Gaida votes yes. So we have a real estate transfer tax of 197.8 for 2022 as a base. And then moving on to 2023. Working off of 197.8. I had estimated a 3% negative, 3% or say negative growth rate. If people feel that's comfortable, if you think we should adjust that downward, given what we just did for 22, I'm certainly amenable to that. But someone move a number, move 193.92 and we can, 193.9, and we can discuss it.
Okay, just a moment, okay? Sorry.
I'll move it for discussion.
Okay, for discussion purposes, 193.9 for 2023. Is there a second for discussion?
Second.
Seconded by Daniels for discussion purposes. Okay. Discussion's open.
I'm confused. Did we take a negative 3% growth rate off of 197.8?
Yes, that would leave us.
I come out with 191.8.
That's what I have too. So that'd be 191.8.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
So just looking at the DRA estimates, their low would be 168.7 and their high would be 185.5.
Right.
So in my conservative nature, I would not be willing to go out of their range of what they feel their high would be at 185.5. Let me figure out what that percentage is.
All right. We can just throw in the number. We'll work the percentage backwards. Is a proposal for 185.5.
Hi, as you can see, he's on a call now. We'll be right back.
Hi, Pat.
Hi, yeah. He's on a call now. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah. He should be right back.
All
He's
right.
hanging
Well,
up. Okay, sorry about that.
It's okay. We'll continue our discussion, but I'll withhold voting until he's back with us and we explain what we've looked at.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. So Senator Henderson, do you want to propose the 185.5
So
or something other?
I'm just working on some things right now.
That's
Okay.
like minus 6.3%, right?
Okay. I'm back.
Okay, we are just working on, I don't know if you heard Senator Hennessy's comment that the figure that we arrive at with a 3% reduction from 22 going to 23 for the RET would give us a 191.8, and that's outside the range of estimates from DRA. So she's working on some calculations that she'll bring back and deliver us a number.
Okay, so we're okay with the 197.8 for the first year.
Yes,
But our concern is the second year.
correct.
Okay, great. And what Hennessy's comments are, I'm sorry for the.
No, that's
interrupt-
okay. So Senator Hennessy commented that the resultant number with a 3% decrease from 22's base going into 23 would result in a number 191.8. That's outside the DRA estimated range.
Right,
So she's working on some calculations. using her best CPA skills.
Yeah, okay.
I wouldn't say it's my best, but I mean, I'm open to discussion of what the other
Sure.
members feel.
I just can't see that significant a reduction, to be honest with
So we took Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, please.
So we took a middle of the road estimate at -3% for 22 from what the DRA had recommended. And so we would need to look and see if we still feel their -10 and -8 are a good range. And that would be way outside of what their actual numbers are. 'Cause if we took to get to the 185.5, it's about a -6.2, 6.3.
I see New Hampshire as remaining a hot commodity, if you will, as a place people want to come to. Yes, supply is short, but there are developments that are happening, as Senator D said. A number of multifamily permits is up. So I think middle of the roads, I think 6 point whatever would be okay. But again, this is what we're here we're discussing. So obviously we got geographic disparities in play too, right? There's a lot more stock down south, even though it's higher demand. Senator Hennessy?
So just to be clear, the -6.2 or 3 gets us to DRA's highest estimate for
Okay.
23 of
Okay.
185.5.
Further comment?
I couldn't hear.
So the -6.2 gets us to DRA's high-end estimate.
Of
For
185.
23. Yeah. Is the committee comfortable with that or,
I'll move the 185.5.
okay, Senator Daniels moves 185.5. It's a -6.2%.
I was just trying to figure out what House Ways and Means thinks now, but I feel comfortable with that. Maybe Chris knows if House Ways and Means has a more recent estimate.
Chris?
They don't at this point. They have looked at some of the revenues, but they've been spending the majority of their time recently with the Senate Bill 3 and
Yeah.
getting a lot of information related to that. So they haven't done any revised estimates since they issued the estimates in March.
What was their last estimate, Chris? March
So
estimate?
excuse me, it would be in the column on the sheet. It would be that same row. It would be the 3 columns before that. So it was 171 was their fiscal 23 amount.
So we're significantly
Oh,
above that.
that's really low.
That's very low.
Your committee has had the benefit of seeing the trending of the real estate transfer tax for another 2 months, essentially beyond what the House Ways and Means did. And it continues to trend on the higher side. So I think you'd probably be okay with the number ranges that you have. I mean, it fits close to what DRA had talked about, but it is truly the committee's decision. Though DRA provides some ranges, it's just to help guide you in your thought processes. So you don't have to accept that. If a committee felt that the ranges were too high or too low, you could go outside that based on other information you might be considering. But based on what you have there, I mean, 21, they were at 194. You went up to 204, which seems to be probably where we're going to end up. It's going to be on the higher end of that 204, 205, 206 number. At the time when the House Ways and Means did their work, it wasn't as high at that point.
So if we went to the 8% that DRA says, I believe the number would be 177.3. And I'd certainly welcome someone to check that. Now, is that off of 192.8? So 192.8 times 0.92? Oh, it's a 7. Yeah, my decimal made it look like a 2. My bad. Thank you. Thank you. So what number did you come again? Okay. And that's the 8%? Okay. Senator Daniels?
That's fine.
Okay, 181.9. Senator Rosenwald?
It seems to me that everything I read about what affects real estate sales is what mortgage rates are. And do we think they're going to go up a lot, leading to a big decline when there's still a limit on inventory? I don't know.
So you're saying less of a reduction.
But on the other hand, if we're more conservative, then we don't have to make cuts in the middle of a budget. It's awful.
So Senator Hennessy,
I'm willing to share my crystal ball if you'd like to borrow it for a minute.
What?
Would you like to borrow my crystal ball for a minute?
Yeah,
I'd like to see that crystal ball.
I'm willing to go with the lower number just because I'd rather have a surplus at the end than a deficit.
all right. So we currently have a motion.
I withdraw my motion.
Okay, so we're open for a motion on a number and a percent.
I'll move -8%.
Okay, -8%, moved by Senator Daniels. Is there a second?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we have a second and a third. So Senator Rosenwald.
Yes.
All right, so we had moved in second on the -8%, and Senator Hennessy, that gives us what is the number?
181.9.
Okay. So any further discussion?
Yeah, I don't see it shrinking that much, to be honest with you. I think the elements in play are quite strong, and they're going to remain that way. I don't know if you watched 60 Minutes last night. The housing situation is unbelievable. It's just, and it's not only in New Hampshire, it's nationwide. Just a comment.
Further discussion? All right, so the motion is 181.9 at a -8%. Hearing no further discussion. We'll go ahead and take the vote. Senator Daniels,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Rosenwald,
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro,
No,
and Senator Guide is going to vote no. So it'll be 3-2. And we've got,
so
Chris, do you have those numbers?
So for the real estate transfer, I have 204 in fiscal 21, 197.8 in 22, and 181.9 in 23.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to interest and dividends. So 131.5 is what I estimate using DRA numbers for 21, fiscal 21. And I figured a 5% increase. Certainly not the growth that we've had in the past, but I don't think it's going to go right down into zero or negative right away. So I figured a 5% increase off of that base in 21 would bring us to a 22 base of 138.0. think more people are retiring. And I think a fair number of people retired perhaps even early because of the COVID. And so I think that IND will stay relatively healthy certainly for the next couple of years.
I agree with that.
So the estimate of 138.08 with a 5% increase for fiscal 22, I would accept a motion for that.
So moved.
Moved by Senator D'Alessandro. Second by Senator Hennessy. Further discussion?
Are we going to drop the 08 and go with 0?
Yes, 138.0 is the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, on a 5% increase and 138.0 for fiscal 22 on the IND. Senator Rosenwald,
Yes.
Senator Daniels,
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy, Senator Gaida votes yes. And then moving on to fiscal 23. I think things will be cooling down for a number of reasons. Interest rates are going to go up. I figured a 3% growth rate. And so off of 138.0, we come up with a 142.2. And I would certainly welcome a motion for purposes of discussion.
I move.
Okay, moved by D'Alessandro, second by Hennessy, and open to discussion. Hearing none. Are we ready for the vote?
Can you state the motion, the number?
Yeah, the motion would be 3% increase resulting in a 142.2 for IND for fiscal 23.
I have 142.1 because we're dropping the 08. So you're basing it on 138. Is that correct?
Okay. Right.
I'll alter my motion to 140 to 142.1.
Okay, 142.1 friendly amendment. So a 3% growth off of 138.0 at 142.1 for 23's IND. And we're ready for the vote? Senator Daniels,
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro,
Yes.
Senator Rosenwald.
Yes.
Senator Hennessy, Senator Gaida votes yes. All right. On to meals and rentals. 320.4, the estimate, I pulled out of DRA's numbers. I think things are getting much better fairly quickly with the amount of traffic that I'm seeing. Campgrounds are jammed. And restaurants are doing very well and so forth. So I figured a 7% growth rate in that, coming off a very dismal 2020.
That's a good number.
And a somewhat dismal 21, but improving. So I figured 7% growth would give us a 342.8 for fiscal 22.
I think that's a good number. All of the signs indicate that we're coming back. I think the smaller ones are going to be problematic, but those who sustained over the pandemic are really coming back, and it looks like it's coming back strong. And all projections for summer tourism are very, very high. So you got rooms and meals that I think are going to be strong. So I think we have a good number, 342.8. I think that's a good number.
I'll move that.
Okay, Hennessy moves. Second by Rosenwald. Further discussion? And we'll go with 7% increase off of fiscal 21 to a 342.8 fiscal 22 estimate for meals and rentals. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Senator Rosenwald?
Yes.
Senator Daniels?
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Senator Hennessy?
Yes.
And Senator Gaida votes yes. Off of that 342.8 for 22 base, I estimated a 5% growth. I think things will cool somewhat. And partially because it's dependent upon discretionary income, much of this. And I'm fairly certain interest rates are going to rise. And that's going to squeeze discretionary spending somewhat. So I figured a less torrid than 7%, but a 5% growth rate, because people still want to recreate. It's still a lot of pent up demand. And so I've projected 5% growth. That would bring the number to I'm looking at 359.9. Does that make sense?
I'll move that.
359,
Hennessy moves 359.9.
359.9.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll second that.
Seconded by D'Alessandro. Further discussion? All right, hearing none. Are you ready for the vote? We'll call the roll. Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro,
Yes,
Senator Rosenwald.
Yes.
Senator Daniels.
Yes,
And Senator Gaida votes yes. So 359.9 for the M&R tax for 2023. And finally, the tobacco tax. 247.5 based off of DRA, the DRA range. I estimate a 1% growth. Simply because there's a lot of pent up kids out there and they're vaping and they're smoking and so forth. So I think we'll see a decline start once the effects of the pandemic are passed. I think there'll be further regulation taking place on vaping and flavors and menthols and all that stuff. So I figured a 1% increase off 247.5 would give a 249.9 for tobacco tax 22. And certainly,
well, I hope you're right that it'll be a 1% decrease, because the implications of an increased tobacco are negative for us in the areas of health and human services. So the problems that are associated with that. So I hope you're correct, but I wonder.
well, I'm looking at a 1% increase, Lou.
Oh, okay, I thought you said a 1% decrease.
Well,
I think 1% increase is probably going to happen. As dangerous as that is, I see more smoking. I see the vaping going out of sight. I mean, these stores are now open 24/7. So you're probably correct.
Unfortunately, so
Yes.
for the 1% increase off of 247.5, is there a motion for 249.9?
so moved.
Daniels moves 249.9. Second? Not hearing a second. All right,
I would move a flat 0 for the first year. And
Second.
mostly it's because the implications of increasing smoking and vaping are so expensive for us as we move forward. But I also think there's going to be more bans on menthol flavorings. And I also think as more restaurant stuff moves inside and more people work inside, they will have to smoke less.
okay, so there's not a second for a 1% increase. So
But
the
I-
motion
I
fails
would have
for lack of a
moved
second.
flat.
And I'll second that.
Okay, so Senator Rosenwald moves and Senator Hennessy seconds a 0 flat rate. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I'm fine with supporting that, but just to use Senator Rosenwald's example, the fact that states around us continue to ban menthol is going to push business our way.
Up north, yeah.
So are you favoring the
I'm-
0 or the 0.1?
I'm fine with the flat.
Okay. Hearing for no further discussion. Are we ready for the vote? Okay, Senator Rosenwald,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Daniels, rather,
Yes,
and Senator D'Alessandro,
No,
Senator Gaida votes no. So We'll go with a 247.5 on a 0% increase for the tobacco for 22. Moving on to 23, I projected a -3%. Is there a motion?
I'll move that and hope you're right.
Okay, Senator Rosenwald moves to -3%. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Senator Daniels. Any discussion?
I think it's inconceivable that it's going to go down 3%. I mean, it's a wonderful wish, but it's not reality. Not in this market, not in this world. There's a lot of craziness in this world. One of them is not realization what your problems are. I'll tell you that. So just a comment. It is what it is.
All right, so is there, are you proposing a different number, Lou?
I'd support the number you brought forward, that it's what's a marginal increase.
Yeah, -3%.
I would support the 3%. I think it's going to happen.
He said a marginal increase.
Yeah, my number, Senator D, is a -3%.
Oh, okay. No, I think there's going to be an increase. I think the increase should be maybe 1 to 2%. I'd say a 2% increase.
Senator Daniels?
At a -3, the number is 240.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion on the floor, or do we have a motion of? Okay, moved and seconded for the -3%. Senator D'Alessandro
No,
feels it should be higher, as do I. I think having been a teenager once and actually having smoked, but having quit many, many, many years ago as well. I think that just the exuberance of youth and look, it's kids, they're going to try it. It's very, very popular, right or wrong. It doesn't matter what the law says, many times to our young people. So, I don't know. And again, DRA's estimates, remember, are based on the traditional reduction we've seen prior to COVID. Okay. And that's Senator Hennessy.
Mr. Chair, the reason why I would support a reduction is because of what the flavor is for the flavors at the federal level. And I think we're going to see some bannings on that. And although right now the vaping portion is not a hugely significant part of this revenue, I think that will continue to increase in our 22 numbers. But if anything happens in 22 at the federal level, we'll see a sharp decline in 23.
Okay.
And I don't know what that sharp would be.
Further discussion?
I did give you a wrong number on the percent I was using.
So we work off 247,
247.5.
right, with a -3%.
Is 240.1. I think. 0.
Okay, so I was right.
We're not rounding.
247. No. Yeah, 240.0.
47.5,
And that's still towards the higher end of DRA's estimates.
right. Okay, so 240.0 is the number with a 3% decrease. Further discussion. So the vote will be on the motion of a -3% and $240 million for the revenue projected for 23's base. You ready for the vote? Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Daniels,
Yes.
Senator Rosenwald.
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro,
No,
and Senator Gaeta votes no. So we now have completed our taxes, revenues for the next biennium. And I would invite Chris to run us through, if you would. I haven't been keeping the tally.
Yep. So Senator Gaida, I'm going to share my screen with the committee so that you can see what you did today as well as what you've done that you completed last week as well.
Okay,
Great. Thank you, Chris.
So you should see the spreadsheet with the yellow highlight. That's the work you did today. If anybody notices that I have incorrectly inputted something, please let me know.
Kind of hard to see it, Chris.
can you expand that?
Is it super tiny?
No, it's good. It looks good.
From where we're sitting, yes.
Super tiny.
It's perfect from where I am, Chris.
Okay.
It's for the Lilliputian world.
Let's see. So I can read off, if you can't see it, I'll just read it off if that'd be easier.
Sure.
So I'm not-
Yeah.
So for your business profits tax in fiscal year 21, the number was 581.1. In fiscal year 22, it was 604.3. And in fiscal year 2023, it was 622.4. Your business enterprise tax was 382.1 in 21, 393.5 in 22, and 1029.6 in 23.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I dropped down to the totals. Let me start
right,
again.
right. It's
Business
407.2.
enterprise.
Oh, Chris, you're
Sorry.
driving me crazy here.
I know. I'm sorry.
I was
Dropped
putting
too
money
many
in the
rows.
bank, Chris. I was putting money in the bank.
So let me start over in the business enterprise. Fiscal 21 was 382.1. Fiscal 22 was 393.5. And fiscal 23 was 407.2. And then what I was just reading you was the total for your business taxes, which was 963.2, 997.8, and 1029.6 and 23. And as Senator Gaida indicated, the split he used was a 60-40 split. These numbers will probably slightly change, once it moves forward and money is collected, especially with the new RIM system the DRA has. They have a more real-time ability to kind of know which bucket the money falls into. Your meals and rooms in fiscal 21, it's 320.4, 342.8 and 22, 359.9 and 23. Tobacco is 247.5 and 21, 247.5 and 22, and 240.0 and 23. Moving down to I&D, it was 131.5 and 21, 138.0 and 22, 142.1 and 23. And then the last tax today was the real estate transfer, and that was 204.0 in 21, 197.8 in 22, and 181.9 in 23. All the other taxes you agreed to last week. So everything that was left in white, it was the numbers that you had agreed to last week. Based on the work you did today and the work you did last week, your current law totals for fiscal year 21 would be 2885.7. Fiscal year 22 would be 2934.1. And fiscal year 20, for fiscal year 22, it's 2934.1. And then for fiscal 23, it's 2971.8.
Chris, you'll provide the committee with the completed report.
Absolutely. I'll send it out a little later this morning once the committee's done. The other thing that you have in this packet, if I scroll down,
Right.
are all the adjustments related to sections, either other bills or sections in House Bill 2. And you'll notice that on this document, I've shaded several of the boxes. So if you look at the first row, it talks about the additional DRA auditors that House Finance added. And below that are the additional DRA auditors that were in House Bill 1 as introduced. Senate Finance has made the decision to remove the 2 additional auditors that the House had added. So that's a reduction of $3 million that the House had counted on in their revenue plan. So that would be zeroed out for the Senate.
Now, would that be in 23's numbers?
Yep. So that would be a $3 million reduction in 23. You left the DRA auditors that were in the budget as introduced. These are auditors that were added in the 2021 budget cycle, but due to the continuing resolution followed by the pandemic and the hiring freeze, DRA was never able to get these positions filled. So when they put their budget plan together, the governor agreed to keep those positions in the budget, and the House did as well. And to date, the Senate Finance has also agreed to that. So that's why I shade that.
So
Yeah,
if Senate
go ahead.
Finance agreeing would mean our numbers would show a 0.7 and a 3.2?
Yeah, so there would be an increase in your business taxes related to those auditors.
Right.
So this, again, this sheet here is adjustments that you would find on a surplus statement. So when you get to the end of your budget work, you'll have a doc. I'll fill this in, with whatever changes the committee makes in finance, but Mike Kane will provide the finance committee with a surplus statement, and you would also see some adjustments related to all these.
Okay.
Moving further down, the other day you voted to remove the single sales factor delay from House Bill 2. The House had indicated that was a $20 million gain in revenue in 23. You lose that, so it zeroes out. And then the next was historical racing right below that. Though there's an amendment that removes it from House Bill 2, that's based on the idea that the governor, there's a bill before the governor that it's intended that he will sign. So you would keep the education trust fund revenue of $6 million and $12 million. And then the last was the liquor license, the last row. That was about $35,000 a year, just under. I believe you voted to remove those sections from House Bill 2. So it goes to a true zero. It's a de minimis impact on your revenue from the liquor fund, but you do not have that $35,000 each year. So going forward, I'll continue to update this document based on Senate Finance decisions in the next few days. And then I'll issue one last sheet to the Ways and Means members so they can see what those adjustments do to your revenue estimates compared to what the House Ways and Means had done. And there's things on here that you may not see. So if the Senate Finance chooses to add the Senate Bill 3 language to this, we would add a row to this document and with the adjustments that would be recommended at that time. Last week, so that's all I have on this sheet. Last week, you also did your fishing game and your highway fund estimates. So today you've completed all your work for revenue estimates. What I will do at this point is get a document together for House Bill 1, Section 14, I believe it is 13, which is the unrestricted revenues that are in the back of the budget. And in Senate Finance, you will see that document. So that's all I have for you today, unless you have some questions for me.
Any questions for LBA? Senator Rosenwald?
Thank you. Are we going to get Education Trust Fund?
Yep.
New estimates based on what we did this morning?
Yep. So that's something that I'll do, once we're done here, and I will try to do the splits related to that. Again, they're estimated splits, but it gives you a sense of what, and I have to do that for the House Bill 1 section.
Mhm.
So yes, the answer is yes, I will provide that information to you.
Great.
Further questions, comments, or discussion? Hearing none. Their motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Senator Alessandro, seconded by Senator Daniels. Senator Rosenwald?
Yes.
Senator Daniels?
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro?
Yes,
Senator Hennessy? Senator Guida votes yes, and thank you all for your good work today.
and thank you, sir, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Chris, for bringing us up to date.
You're welcome, Senator D'Alessandro.
I appreciate that very much.